All right, very warm welcome everyone. Today I want to go over the most prominent and most important features in Cubase. Cubase will be the DAW we use on this channel the most, so I figured it should be quite a nice idea to give you some sort of a walkthrough, everything you need. So Cubase is a DAW by Steinberg. As you can see here, Steinberg is a German manufacturer or German software engineering company, and the program Cubase has been around for over 30 years, so you have many different functions you can use, which is why we want to cover most of the important ones here. So if you do not have Cubase right now installed and you would like to follow along, please do so. There is the Steinberg Download Assistant, which helps you in setting up your Cubase installation. You have to download and install all of these files, and then you should be greeted with a hub like this if you start Cubase for the first time. If you navigate through to the right path here, you can find one template where you can initialize one empty project. You can either do so by clicking the Create button down below, or you can double click on this empty thing here. Please make sure to set your project folder and maybe your default location if you want to, and then we just create a new project and go over most of the important things here. So the first thing you notice is we have a project window here in the middle where you basically want to write your song. You have 300 bars prepared for you, which you can use. If I'm using Control and my mouse wheel, I can zoom in and zoom out, of course. But you can also have more than 300 bars if you just add to the right of those. So then we have on the left hand side here where you will find your tracks, and on the right hand side you probably have your media bay or all of your instruments you use or you can use. Then you also have the control room if you are using Cubase Pro like I do. We are on version 11, by the way. And also you have a metering section where you can in Cubase Pro also meter the loudness here. So this all comes prepared with Cubase, so you don't really need that much additional content. But if you want to, you can of course add additional VST instruments or effects if you like. We are going over this input and output channels just in a little bit. Just let me quickly introduce you to all of these other options you have on the top and on the bottom here. So you have your undo and redo options here. You can mute or solo all of your tracks. In this part, then you have your toolbox where you can basically change the tool you want to use. You can also do so by right-clicking and holding, and then choosing the tool you would like to use, and then letting go of the right mouse button and do so again to get the mouse again. Then you have your quantize option here with the option to soft quantize, so not nailing everything on the beat, but in this case on every 16th note, but choosing basically where you want to quantize them. In this case, if you activate this, you can see that we have a 50% quantize option here. So whenever I want to quantize, then I would have only 50% of the notes moving to the position of 1/16th right or left of them. So on the bottom, we then have our options for MIDI and audio recording. We probably can go over them later because they are not that important for now. You have the auto quantize option, which basically means if you are recording something and this auto quantize is enabled, basically everything you will record is already pre-mapped to the quantize grid. Then you have your locators, left and right one. If I now basically drag a region here, you should see that this changes. So you have the left locator on bar 1 now, and the right locator on bar 3. Then you have your transport options where you basically can play or record or stop your project, also move to the start or to the end. You have your punch in, punch out, which is basically if you want to record and you have a region enabled like here, and your project reaches this point, it will always automatically start recording for you and you don't have to do anything, and then it will stop recording once you hit the right locator here. You can also see that you have like this bar here, which basically indicates at which position in your project you are. And if you change this, you can recognize this here. So this is basically the point where you can set your bar. You can either do so here, or you can just click on every bar or every beat if you want to. Then you have the time stamp for your project, then the tempo of your project, and also the time signature. Then you have your click track and the pre-counter, the count in as it is set here. You can activate and deactivate them, of course. And this is basically the whole functionality there is. You also have your instruments here, which you can load, and you have your loops here. They are probably grouped in sample packs if you have those, or they can be grouped by yourself if you have some favorites. So I think this concludes a basic overview over the functionality. Of course, if we go on further in these tutorials, you probably will find some different functionality. I'm going to explain then, but just to give you a little overview on how all of this project stuff works, I think it is a good idea to just look at the project window for the first impression here.